Hello YouTube. Welcome back. This is BalorMage, and you may notice a different build in the background. We did end up having to abandon our Stormbrand low-life occultist. It did not hold up, and I really wanted to farm and get quite a bit of money and perhaps even get a headhunter. And in order to do that, and in order to farm juiced content and be able to do my bosses, I had to reroll. So we went Trapper because physical Trapper is still absolutely gross. We did things slightly different than other people. The way we went EB without using the helmet is slightly different, though not necessarily better. But as you can see, it has quite a lot of damage. I actually accidentally, for most of yesterday, had trap support in my gloves, which were supported by traps because they're shaper gloves. So I was actually running my exsanguinate on a 4-link and doing very juiced sextanted scarabs, everything tier 16s, and clearing them on a 4-link, and didn't actually notice until someone from chat pointed it out. So Pepega me was missing quite a bit of damage and didn't even notice. And then Seismic itself, on the other hand, is doing like 13 million DPS, and this whole build costs less than the Stormbrand occultist did. I spent the money from selling my 6-link shabs and about 4 extra exalts on this entire character from head to toe, and it is far tankier, quicker clear speed, super good defenses, slightly bad on the recovery, which we're still trying to take on, but way better damage as well. So I am really happy and really enjoying it. Now we are farming up for a headhunter, but I'm heavily considering getting the headhunter and then just putting it in my stash and not re-rolling into a headhunter blasting character, and instead min-maxing the trapper the way I want to do it a little bit more. I'd be very interested to hear in comments whether people would like to see trappers actually min-max this league and see what happens with it, or whether we should re-roll into a big juicing character next. So this is my character. This is what it looks like. I got no MTXs on right now, but as you can see, our seismic trap area, if you haven't seen it yet, with no scaling at all, is absolutely huge. Now, what the nerf did here was, in theory, on paper, lowered our DPS by a significant margin. Probably even as high as 60 to 70%. But in reality, they didn't. Because what happened on paper is, before, you would place all of your traps on top of each other like this, and then very easily 4 explosions from every single trap would all hit the same target. Now you never get more than 2. But in reality, mobs move, even bosses move. And if you spread your traps even slightly now, you will always hit with 2 explosions, and it doesn't matter how much they run around, it'll just keep hitting. So even though the technical on paper damage came down, the reality damage that you actually do in game feels like it went up. Now, there are, in like a super min-maxed version where you're scaling like last league 200 or 300% increased area, guaranteeing 5 or 6 or however many the maximum overlap was. That perfect min-max version did lose a ton of power, but almost no one was running that. The most AoE scaling we ever used before was maybe someone had a carcass jack on, and that would be it. And if that was you or less, this seems essentially buffed to me. Like, the damage feels just better. So we did things a little bit differently. First of all, this new amulet, absolutely gross. The 20% reservation of skills let me not use the Devouring Diem. But I had to get Eldritch Battery on my Skin of the Lords to do that. After having gone through this trouble, I think you're probably just better off going Devouring Diem, because I had to get a Determination Helm enchant, a 9% RMR implicit, and spend a few points on a Grace cluster. But we do have Pride, Zealotry, Defiance Banner, Herald of Purity, Skitterbots, Determination, and Grace. We did pick up this Watcher's Eye for only 3x that gave us physical damage reduction, crit with Zealotry, and spell suppression with Grace, which is just gross. That was a really good find. Frankly, I don't need the spell suppression. I'm actually right now 12% over cap. And this gives 15, but that would mean I'm 3% short. I'd have to find 3% more spell suppression, which is super easily doable. We just have a basic gear for the rest of it. The belt is pretty decent with some chaos res. The ring is just okay. I think it was a 40C ring or something. This other ring was just lying around in my stash. It's crafted life. It's not special at all. Cold Iron points are like 8C. I don't have any corruptions on them or anything. I got a little bit more movement speed for bossing. I don't even have the 120% crit chance enchant on boots, which I absolutely should have. But I would rather be weaker than go farm lab. So we're just not doing that. Yeah, I'm just happy to give up. I'm just happy to give up damage or defense to not run labs. So we're just not doing it. But you should, but I'm not going to. I did craft these myself. These are quite good. To have suppression and trap and life. Huge deal. Quite good. But frankly, I could give up suppression on it, or I could give up life on it and have just 2 of those stats, and it would be perfectly fine. Everything else is very similar to what we did last league. We're still threading here. We're still grabbing all of these nodes through just the thread. Saves us a ton of points. We've got a standard large cluster into 2 of the Guerrilla Tactics Set and Forgets. Set and Forget is my favorite thing. Reducing the trap duration only reduces the traps on the floor duration before it goes off. Not how long it stays active as a trap, just how long until it goes off on its own. So in this case, with 2 of them, my traps last half as long on the floor before they go off on their own, which is quite nice. Ideally, in a perfect min-max world, we'd be running 4 of them, so they went off instantly, but I'm hesitant to spend any more money right now. We did have some points we spent in Chaos Res here, because I found Chaos Degens to be a little bit of a problem. The only thing this character is weak to is Degens. Degens hurt quite a lot. Getting the Chaos Res put me at 57 Chaos Res, which mixed with my Pantheons, this one specifically, which is 5% reduced chaos damage and 25% reduced damage over time from caustic, as well as capping my poisons, has made that pretty good. I get my anti-freeze here. Otherwise, everything is pretty much pretty similar to what we ran last league. We're no longer doing the Queen of the Forest super run speed thing, because we just find that I need a bit more defenses this time, and running Determination and Grace, putting on Skin of the Lords for the 100% increased global defenses is pretty damn good. So that's been pretty nice. And if we look over in our Path of Building, which I will link below, our Seismic Trap with just 4 traps down is 13 million damage, which is ridiculous considering how cheap it was to put this character together and how tanky it is. For some reason, I haven't been able to work out. It does say my armor is 41,000, but that is not the case with Flasks Up. With Flasks Up, I end up with 35,000 armor and 28,000 evasion. I'm not sure. I haven't been able to work out where Path of Building is getting my extra armor from. I'd like it in game, but it doesn't exist. I don't know where that is, but it's still quite good. Like that's that and spell suppress cap for that amount of tank and 13 million DPS just on 4 Exsanguinate traps, which to be fair, I can usually have 5 of, right? Because you throw 4 and then you can throw another one before they even start going off. And for a long time, 5 of them are going off. And you would be throwing Exsanguinates in as well, which do an okay amount of damage. Those would add to it, but I don't know how to even work that out. I don't know how to work out how many exsanguinates you'd get in. So I've just rounded it at 4 seismic traps because I think it's relatively reasonable, and 13 million DPS for this level of gear. Really gross. Really gross. Super happy with it. It is doing my super juice maps. It is what I'm going to use to farm the headhunter. That is all I have. I'm still very on the fence between min-maxing this character a little bit more, maybe spending another, 20 to 40 exalts, like getting it into a really, really good state before I reroll Headhunter build, or reroll a Headhunter build immediately upon getting one. I don't know which one I'm going to do. Feel free to tell me which one you'd prefer to see. That's all I've got. I will see everybody next time. I gotta get back to farming. Goodbye.